Good evening, friends. First of all, let me ask my friends if they've all celebrated Sushant Singh's birthday in some way, small or big. On my part, I lit a diya to remember Sushant Singh on this wonderful day and to promise that we will fight for him and win him justice. This is the people's fight for justice, and it will not end till it is done. Today, we have with us Ramesh Nadir. I would best like to introduce you to him as one of the best Twitterati that I have known. Incidentally, he is one among the 7 lakh victims of the Kashmiri Pandit exodus, a displaced refugee in his own country. He could not return back to Doordarshan Srinagar as he was on assignment in Film Institute Pune from 1st January 1990 to April 1990. He received his parents in Jammu who had to leave Srinagar on 4th May 1990. He is also a retired broadcast engineer with a keen interest in the issues social and political of national interest and importance. He describes himself as a wandering soul, knowledge seeker, and a news junkie. Welcome to our channel, Ramesh. It's a pleasure to have you.
Namaskar.
Yeah. Viewers, if you have any queries, you can ask Ramesh ji towards the end of the session, and he can perhaps answer them for you. Let us start with the latest news. Prime Minister Modi will get a COVID-19 vaccine shot in the second phase. Along with Prime Minister, other leaders aged over 50 years will also be vaccinated. This will include the chief ministers as well. During a recent meeting with the chief ministers, Prime Minister Modi had said that nobody needs to jump the line, but wait for their turn. There's no need to panic. In the second phase, all people above the age of 50 will be vaccinated, he had said. In such a situation, all MPs, MLAs, and ministers who are above 50 years will be given the coronavirus vaccine in the second phase. However, it's not clear when the second phase of vaccination will start in the country. Meanwhile, a smaller news is that a fire has broken out in the premises at the Serum Institute of India in Pune on Thursday. Visuals of the blaze show a thick plume of smoke emerging, and Pune Mayor Muralidhar Mohol said earlier it was suspected that 4 people were inside. So we took them out. When the fire was in control, we came to know that those 5 bodies were recovered by Jawans of the fire brigade. 4 men and 1 woman died in the incident. This building was under construction, hence we speculate that they were construction workers. The site where the fire broke out is an under construction building at Serum Institute of India, Pune. The vaccine and vaccine manufacturing plant are safe. Sources state that the building where the fire is blazing is the newly inaugurated Biotechnology Park. Ramesh, you have been an ardent follower of Narendra Modi.
Right.
Can you tell us your thoughts about the kind of leader he is and what has been his contribution to India and its people?
Prime Minister Modi, for me, has been an embodiment of pure hard work, commitment, and devotion, with ingredients of social welfare. He has basically been the leader who has been aspiring for the 130 crore Indians with programs and policies for strong economic reforms for all sections, which will impact all sections of the society. And he has, under his government, he has basically been instrumental in securing the nation for its stability, growth, and peace.
Moving on to the next point, Rameshji. See, India media, especially Times Now, has used Arnab Goswami's WhatsApp leaks to BARC CEO to settle scores with him. In a very demeaning manner, Navika Kumar first praised him in an emotional tone, saying she had to walk in his shoes after he left Times Now, and then mocked him, for which she got a befitting, witty response from Arnab, who said he had taken his shoes with him. Arnab has also decided to sue Congress and has invited Rahul Gandhi for a one-on-one debate. Meanwhile, Congress has decided to raise the WhatsApp leak controversy on the upcoming parliamentary session. Republic TV chief Arnab Goswami has decided to take strong action against the alleged lies peddled by the Grand Old Party and its senior leaders, including Wayanad MP Rahul Gandhi. In a statement released by Goswami, he said that he is filing a criminal complaint against every Congress leader who has uttered lies against him. He said that their statement that classified documents which were shared is a falsehood. Don't send your groupies. Face me one on one, Rahul, if you can, he said in a statement. He further said that those chats where he spoke about a retaliation of Pulwama attack were nothing but what every Indian expected at that time.
True.
Every Indian expected India to trash Pakistan black and blue after Pulwama. To even suggest that the Prime Minister gave me this information is a horrendous act of falsification, he said. Meanwhile, Congress has decided to raise the WhatsApp controversy leak in the upcoming parliamentary session. In a press briefing, senior Congress leaders A.K. Antony, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Sushil Kumar Shinde, Salman Khurshid, and Pawan Khere revealed Congress's plan of raising the issue of WhatsApp chats on by the messages of Arnab Goswami leaked by Mumbai police in the upcoming session of the parliament. Congress also demanded strict action against the Republic TV editor in chief for allegedly compromising this national security and exploiting matters of a national tragedy to boost his channel's TRPs. The principal opposition party also raised aspersions on a possible nexus between the BJP and the Republic network and went on to attack the Prime Minister. Rameshji, many have been angered by the attack on Arnab Goswami and his channel by various media channels and opposition parties. What are your feelings about this, and why are they doing this sort of, witch hunt, this hounding him and trying to get destroy his channel and him? What are the reasons you think?
Right. First of all, I would like to recall Arnab interviewing Rahul Gandhi in January 2014. And let's admit, Rahul himself contributed to undressing himself in front of Indian public, while he could not utter a single word or a single sentence which had coherence or which was relevant to the questions asked by Arnab. And he was fighting elections in 2014 against Modi. He was asked, was Rahul ready to deal with the issues, difficult and tough on one-to-one basis with Modi? He could not utter. He would just dilute and divert the topic on simply saying India wants empowerment, empowerment of youth. All the time there was empowerment of youth and changes in the system. What changes he was going to bring into the system, that was not known. He could not make out. He couldn't express that what it was about making changes in the India's system. He talked about RTI, and in that RTI he brought in judicial system also into the RTI and the press. Remember Arnab telling him press is not ruling India, press is not governing India, so it cannot be under RTI. Then he said, yes, judicial system, all right. So like that, there were many questions where he got completely undressed and exposed his all the weaknesses and his incapabilities of being a responsible leader or a political leader. And one more question he at one time he asked him about was the change in the political system he wanted to bring in, cleaning the political system and all that. He was very much for RTI and RTI, but he could not utter a word how he would do it within his own Congress party. He talked about how MLAs are being chosen, how MPs are being chosen, how a Gram Pradhan is chosen, but he did not talk about his own party where no elections were held. Basically, I would say he was not hoisted, he was foisted on the party by the High Command, which was a Sonia Parivar, the stooges in the Congress party, the yes men in the Congress party, who benefited along with this Parivar in all the decade of decay, which is known as decade of decay under Manmohan Singh, a puppet prime minister. And all that particular instant, I feel Rahul Gandhi has to personally score, rather settle with Arnab Goswami. That's why he is jumping right now into the security leaks, so-called security leaks, which have not been there because they have not yet been confirmed by any investigative agencies. These are just so-called security leaks, and it may sound a little unpleasant to some ears, some people. Arnab has, though he has his own style of conducting debates, most of the times I have not been happy the way he has been conducting, because he brags a lot. And in those chats also, I can sense that what he does live in the studio, he has done the same thing in the chats also. Actually, the things have not been there what he has been boasting there, because he has not been capable of doing that. He doesn't have that access to the corridors of power what was in
Yeah.
the times of Congress regime in the last 10 years, before, in the 2004 to 2014 period. And let me remind these people who are going against Arnab, did anybody conduct debates on radio tapes where you know that Barkha that admitting that she was basically manipulating the choice of the member parliaments for a ministerial post? Not alone that, even allocation of which portfolio should go to particular minister. It is unheard. It was done only when the Congress was ruled under MMS in the decade of decay. And this was not, and nobody debated it. I feel sorry to name Rahul Shivshankar, Navika Kumar, and others, and leave aside Rajdeep Sardesai. Just don't consider him as a journalist at all. The man, and they never conducted these debates, prime time debates, and it has been going on for days and days and days. I thought yesterday was the last day they have done it. Probably sanity is prevailing, but it was not. It was
goes on
probably
and
in the
on.
morning. I found again the same damn thing. Is the loop is going on. The loop is going on. Instead of, see, it's a very interesting thing. If you just think about it, they are only pointing fingers on Arnab.
Yes.
Nobody is talking about Bark. Bark is the main culprit.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't the investigation be against Bark? This must have been happening for the last 20 years, since the day electronic media mushroomed in India.
Yes.
It was not earlier, before in 90s and all that. So after 2002 only, we have seen so many channels coming up, and most of the people left NDTV. Then we got India Today and Times Now and CNN, IBN. Most of the anchors worked there. Bark was still there. And why not to investigate Bark? That means Bark has been pliable. Bark has got a sales tag around its neck.
Yeah.
Then only people can approach them and get manipulative TRPs done. And very interesting, most of the channels I have been seeing just a year or two back, every channel would mention in its that news bar, it is topping the charts. How is it possible? Every channel is claiming it. Is it possible? Every news channel, every debate, they say it is topping the bars, prime time debates. It was not possible. One could have been topping amongst all the 4 or 5 big channels, not all the channels. So it has that game has been going on with the consent of Bark all these years. Bark should definitely be investigated. I am not saying that Arnab Goswami may not be at fault. He may be at fault. He may be at fault in overdoing things, going overboard, which is not proper. But the culprit is Bark, which has a sales tax, which has basically connived with people in all the media channels. And let Arnab not become this scapegoat. Let him not be the whipping boy.
Yeah. See, the
Then let us talk about Rajdeep Sardesai.
Yeah.
What is he? The man who asked the security guard to close the gates of this thing when our parliament, the seat of democracy, the center of democracy, was under attack.
Yeah.
This man is telling to his camera, ask this security guard to close this thing so that ours will be the only channels which can give the live coverage or talk about this coverage or shoot this. Maza aa gaya. Was the death and destruction, the death of our martyrs who got martyred, the security guards, Gardner, and some other person, 10 lives we lost. Was that a moment of glory for him?
Yeah.
The death and destruction, was that a moment of glory for him? So maza aa gaya. And even when he was interviewed by some lady, I have seen that earlier, that time also he was giving smiles, no remorse. No debates are conducted on Rajdeep Sardesai. No debates on other news anchors, Varkhadar.
Yeah.
No debates on Vikram Chandra.
Mm.
how his emails have been found, where he was
Yeah.
telling it to his these chartered accountants that dividends of NDTV should not be reflected. The total duplicity and hypocrisy of our media.
Yeah.
Total duplicity.
In fact, see, India Today was accused of TRP manipulation, and they were
Yes,
called. Okay, they were summoned. But who has reported it? Nobody. Nobody
they will
reports
not
this.
do it.
There's no
They
focus
will not.
on them. Yeah.
They will not do it.
See, Ramesh, I also find it very strange that, see, this seems to be like, it seems to be a very long chain. Okay, it started with the Mumbai police, the Mahavikas Agadi, okay, and Bollywood, and then it goes to the Pakistan Prime Minister. Okay, Pakistan Prime Minister, then again it comes back, and many people like Congress start agreeing with it. So, are these all people towing the Pakistan line? I mean,
They have been
who
the
is
proxy.
Pakistan to interfere in our India's affairs and tell us what kind of journalists we have or what kind of media channels we have? Because Narendra Modi doesn't discuss their journalists or their media channels with with us. So it's very strange. There is some link somewhere to destroy Arnab completely and his channel, because that is the only channel which is giving the truth.
Very right. Very right. Yes, that is their aim.
Yeah.
It is a the whole cabal of these journalists is against one person,
Yes.
not against the system.
Yes.
Understand it? They are not against the system of Bark.
Yeah.
They are only about Arnab Goswami. Nobody points fingers on Bark. They only point on the CEO of Bark. Why not
Yeah.
the Bark as an institution? As we
Yes.
talk about judiciary as an institution, parliament as an institution, Bark
Yeah.
is also an institution after all, which is collecting data on TRPs and all that. They
But
have been
even yeah.
taking things off the record, like use of vulture.
Yes.
Somebody uses word kachara.
Yeah.
Understand Rajiv Sardesai himself admitting in that interview, yes, we are vultures. We are preying on these moments.
Yeah.
We are journalists.
Yes.
That vulture word was never hyped and it was never demeaning at that time. Now it
Yeah.
has become demeaning.
Yes.
So this is a duplicacy or duplicity.
Yeah. And also, you'll see that, even if Bark was to be questioned, look at the way the ex-CEO has been handled by the Mumbai police. I mean, this man is diabetic, and they torture him to make him somehow give
Correct.
Arnab's name. This is ridiculous, and that
Ridiculous.
too after Supreme Court has chastised them. You know that you better be careful. Neither they are, concerned, or the Bombay High Court. I don't understand. It is so strange. Anybody can be trashed. Anybody can be beaten up, whether it's a Navy officer, the ex-Navy officer, or the Army officer, or Kangana's house can be, ripped apart. Anything can be done. Kangana
Then
cannot say a word, and people are, accusing her left and right, telling her to be, removed from Twitter. Who are they? Who are these people? This is a democratic country where everybody has a, right to speak the, way they want. You know but the way these people are acting as though it is their own kingdom and they can do whatever they want.
this liberal media and the Congress party, which had been sheltering them all these years,
Yeah.
and now they are devoid of access to corridors of power. They are
Yes.
deprived of freebies like
Yes.
free travel,
Yeah.
accompanying president, prime minister, foreign minister, sharing drinking with them, dining with them, and then hospitality of Indian embassies abroad. They are just
Yes.
deprived of all that. So the frustration is there. That's how they are joining together for this.
Yes. And if they are contributing to the country, it's okay. They are only making people, fight with each other, which is, the next point is the farmers issue. I mean, what is happening in the farmers issue? I mean, I don't even know whether the whole thing, was right
Just
even to call
understand
them.
my point.
Yeah.
We should ponder how come these leaks have come at this time,
Yeah.
when this is just to berate Modi government.
Yeah.
The leaks and the farmers' protests,
Yeah.
both are together.
Mm.
It has been done. It's not a simple coincidence. No, it has been timed very well. It has
Yeah.
been timed very well to demean the government and make them either repeal the laws or suspend the laws, It's just, and so that they get busy with one of the issues and they are not able to address the other issue.
Yes.
It's that. And diverting public's attention from the failures of Congress. Just like that.
Yeah. The next bit of news is that the SC constituted committee held its first meeting with farmers' unions across the country via video conferencing to resolve the standoff over the farm laws. On Thursday, the Court constituted committee held its first meeting with farmers' unions across the country via video conferencing to resolve the standoff over the farm laws. Earlier, on January 12th, the Apex Court stayed the implementation of the farm laws and made it clear that the MSP system shall continue. The committee has been directed to solicit the views of the farm unions and the centre. Moreover, this panel will submit its recommendations pertaining to the farm laws to the SC within 2 months from the date of its first sitting. Additionally, the representatives of all farmer unions, irrespective of whether they are holding a protest or not, have been asked to participate in the deliberations of the committee and put forth their viewpoints. Ramesh, do you think the farmers' issue is under control? What is happening at this stage?
I think the government has not done enough in communicating and preempting, knowing well the frustration in the opposition camps. Understand, the farm laws were passed in September 2020,
Yeah,
2020, right? Then the opposition got all the time
yeah,
to collect their ammunition, to mislead, to misinform the masses. And particularly interesting, it is not the farmers of India. They are not there. These are the so-called farmers of Punjab and Haryana surrounding the NCR who have been brought in by one gentleman, the Suraj, the butter-layered tongue. He has a butter-layered tongue who talks so soft, but in the heart of hearts, his acts are most ugly and vicious.
yeah,
Yogendra Yadav. He is one of the persons when Tikat speaks. Tikat does not speak his language. Note the language, note the vocabulary. It is the vocabulary of Yogendra Singh Yadav and none else.
yeah,
That is how the farmers' protest is being navigated.
yeah, yeah. It's also a place like, see, it's the same thing, Ramesh. If you look at the Shaheen Bagh thing, if you look at all these protests, it's all the same. It's the same people wearing different masks. That's all,
Different
you know.
ones.
And they make sure that everybody is so comfortable that the protest will go on and on, and they will not be in any way hampered. They'll get their food, they'll get their fast food, their foot
See the
massage.
logistics. See the logistics. How things are arranged. Very
Yeah,
smooth.
yeah,
Very smooth. That means the exercise has been conducted.
yes,
A lot of efforts have gone into it,
yes,
and there has been a management agency which has been working behind the doors for
yes,
conducting all this, for organizing, mobilizing, and colluding. And see the people who address them, they're the same who were at Shaheen Bagh. Then there are the people who were at Jalekattu.
yes,
Then Sterlite, that strike against that opening of that Sterlite factory in, I think, Tamil Nadu. The
yes.
same people are there wearing different masks, and they are all the time sharing the stage on these occasions.
What I don't understand is that, Ramesh, what I felt was that in the beginning itself, Prime Minister Narendra Modi should not have entertained them. He should not have called them to their table. When you know that these people are not the real farmers, it should not have been entertained. That's what my thought was.
Can a farmer afford to be on the roads? To be on the roads is one thing. Then hampering the normal daily lives of people who are not with them.
Yes,
And that is the majority of the people. The
yeah,
majority of these farmers are tilling their land
yes,
closer to their homes. They are not there, blocking roads, creating a mayhem. Then there are shopkeepers there, there are small industrial units. They have to receive their goods, they have to send
yeah,
their goods manufactured.
yes,
How can they do it?
yes,
And then you have massage centers over there. Are they
yeah,
farmers?
yeah,
Then you have DJ over there. all
Yeah.
sorts of entertainment is being managed for them. They are not the farmers. They are basically the middlemen. They are the
Yeah.
traders who have felt that they will not be getting the same benefits. They will not be getting the same amount of
Yeah.
profit what they earned earlier. They
Yes.
are feeling deprived of those profits in future if the farm
Yeah.
laws are implemented, and
Yeah.
they are navigating it.
Yeah.
And then Congress, all the time in need of such issues, will
Yeah.
be there at the back supporting it.
Yeah. See, even when people like Arundhati Roy join the movement, you should know, you know, what is the movement all about. These are the same faces coming in
Same.
different dresses.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to China. Just as soon as Biden was sworn in, China issues sanctions against Trump's official.
True.
So, so what is this happening? Is China already controlling Biden?
China is very much in need of a softer handshake with America, because in the last 3 4 years of the Trump administration though had signed in between trade pacts with China, but overall it has been uh, rightly harsh with China.
Yeah.
uh, it had trade deals, and then it realized China dumping so much of their goods to American markets and all that. So they started applying their own tariffs. And if I have the figures, I can tell you. The Trump regime imposed fresh tariffs totaling roughly $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, and China did not sit back. They reciprocate this gesture. They also retaliated with own tariffs, and it was roughly 60 billion US dollars
Mm.
on the goods which US sends to China.
Yeah.
So it was like that. So that tug of war was going on in the last 3 4 years, and this escalated this year when Wuhan virus, rather this
Yeah.
coronavirus, got spread. It entered the U.S. shores,
Yeah.
and as it entered the U.S. shores, rightly it was labeled as the Wuhan virus, to the dislike of China by President Trump. Then the accusations started from both sides, from the Chinese side as well as the US side. The Chinese said the American army brought it into the China. American military brought it into the China. And while the America started then accusing China of spying through their journalists, and we found 13 journalists were then expelled by US administration under Trump back to China. And the Chinese too did the same thing. Then what US did, then they started putting a ban on US companies investing in China, in those with those companies which have a tie-up with which are connected with PLA. So Chinese again reciprocated with US. Then we found consulates being closed in both China as well as in US. So this escalated to a great extent. Then US banning some of their these applications, software applications, TikTok and others in America. So the things worsened. Even
And I
Trump
think,
administration at one time blamed WHO also for being
yeah.
soft with China, hobnobbing with China, and uh, not basically putting some tough decisions against China for spreading the pandemic across the world.
But I don't think any country has the guts to sue China, for spreading the Chinese virus.
Unfortunately, US failed to grasp the situation of stepping into China after 1971 war,
Yeah.
when Pakistan helped them to get that space. Henry Kissinger was there, the man who basically landed in China while his press conference was scheduled in Rawalpindi. The press
Yeah.
was kept waiting, saying that he's running a bad cold, and we found after a few days that he had been to China to get closer to the Chinese Communist Party. And this foothold in China, America thought will bring in the genes, culture, the Western culture to China, and they will be able to rudder the mindset of Chinese youth, which will can be weaned away from communist regime. But it was not that. They failed there, and in that process, what they did, they transferred most of their technology to China for cheap labor to get
Yeah.
goods at very low cost manufactured in China. China very cleverly utilized this opportunity in building up their own industry and even bettering some of the things and competing with America. And now America is so much reliant in goods in transport sector, in electronic sector, and even in shipping. So many things in other goods. America is dependent on China, and now it cannot, unless and until it starts industry once again in its own country, which will generate employment for its own youth. There's a lot of unemployment in US also, because they had shifted everything to China. So unless they do it, they will not be able to stop it.
Yeah.
And we have a very large number of Chinese population immigration who are there since last 300 years. They have
Yeah.
their allegiance to China.
Mm.
So to dislocate China is difficult. Yes, America can. America has done. Trump administration has done. They have withdrawn the special status to Hong Kong and like that. But those are small measures.
Do you think the Jack Ma who came back is the original? Because he looked very scared when he was speaking. It was as though somebody had written the script for him, and he was, a gun was being held behind his back. What do you think?
Yeah, I just can't say. I have no thoughts about it. Anything is possible in China.
Yeah, yeah. In China, anything is possible. Yeah. Yes. Moving on to the occasion of Sushant Singh's birth anniversary, while his fans and well wishers celebrated all over the world, a few people who never really had any feelings for him are displaying their love on social media. It started with television producer Ekta Kapoor, who remembered the sweet memories of the late actor and shared a throwback video of the star. Similarly, Ankita Lokhande, who invited Sandeep Singh to her party, was seen doing something equally mushy on social media. What we find strange is that his fans are able to recognize who are genuinely fighting for his cause and those who are seeking his death to catapult themselves to fame. We are sure justice will come and all the faces of these people will be exposed. Till then, let us all do our bit to remember the great actor. Ramesh ji, what are your thoughts on Sushant Singh and the kind of long battle that the public are, facing to somehow bring justice to him and his parents, and give some sort of a solace to their own pain?
I do pay my homage to Sushant Singh Rajput on his birthday, which falls today,
Yeah,
and a very great actor in such a short span of time. He showed his skills, and he was an outsider for
yes,
this Bollywood.
yeah,
And then sometimes when I think, as the investigation is in progress, still we don't know what are the reasons, who are the people involved, and all. Its investigation has not been able to find out the people who basically either abetted his suicide or who murdered him. Though there are reports he has not been murdered, but anyway, whatever he has been, even if he has committed a suicide, that thing is not still clear. Investigation is still on. What strikes me, seeing the fall of the demise of such a young budding actor, a great actor, I ponder it's important to think beyond this: who killed Sushant, what killed Sushant. That's very important for the young generation of India. For fame and money and name, one should not fall into a trap. And I think Sushant fell into a trap. Very intelligent guy, a man who talked about quantum theory, a man who talked about space, a man who talked about engineering and other things. astronomy. He becoming a victim of this drugs and other things. One should be very careful. The youth of India need to take a lesson from this thing. One should not fall into these traps. And even if to begin with, and I know there are many people, many celebrities, but cleverly they managed to come out of that. Sushant failed, being so intelligent, but he failed. There, I feel sorry for him.
See, Ramesh, that because we've been doing a lot of stories on this, and on the number of actors who have died, men and women, the pattern is the same. Whenever an outsider or any other actor or actress becomes popular, then what happens is they are, a group of people try to control them and try to extort money from them. And if they don't comply, then they are blackmailed. And if they still do not give money, then different methods will be done to eliminate them. So this is the pattern for many of the people. I've been doing a complete series on this, and
Correct.
we found that the pattern is the same. What they will do is they will first, tarnish his reputation or her reputation and say that they are immoral. And for this they will make some journalists write blind articles and say that they are womanizers, or they sleep with people and they drink and they have drugs, when actually these people are very
Correct.
clean and very talented. So once the reputation is tarnished, then what they do is they isolate them from the people they are close to, which is family, close friends. So when they are once they are completely isolated, then they are given drugs, alcohol, and what happens is then they are told that they have either bipolar depression, or they are split personality, or they are schizophrenic. So then they try to build stories about them reaching a state of madness, and if possible, they will put them in a lunatic asylum, which is what some stars did to their brothers who were
Right.
becoming upcoming stars. So the once
Right.
you prove, for example, Parveen Babi, they said that she was a lunatic, but when she was a perfectly normal actress. So once you put them into that frame, then it is very easy to say that they committed suicide.
Correct.
When
Correct.
it is not a suicide, but it is a murder. So
It's a
these
murder.
things are, it's not only Sushant.
Abetment to
This
murder.
is a common pattern.
Abetment to suicide is a murder, basically.
Yes,
Yes, it's a
it is a
murder.
common, even if I don't know whether Ramesh, you've been following the case of Janvi Kukreja in
Correct.
Mumbai, a
See,
young
we have to
teenager
draw some
who, yeah,
important lessons here. This is for the
yeah,
youth.
yes,
That, as I said, the name, fame, and money, and all that, as we
yes,
follow it, we
yes,
have to tread a very, very, you can say, fine
yes,
path.
yeah,
So, if we go astray, then
yeah,
there is no end to it.
yes,
And in these cases also,
yeah,
support of the family support system is very important.
yeah,
I think in Sushant's case also, some lapses from the family side also must have happened.
yeah,
That's how he got cut off for a sorry, a huge gap was there between his parents and himself.
yeah. Even there, see, Ramesh, what was happening was they were changing his numbers, and he was not being given access to his family. He was being heavily drugged, and the people were controlling his bank accounts and his telephone. So what happened was when the family was trying to reach out to him, they could not reach out to him because there was no number they could reach out to.
Agreed,
So the
agreed,
family,
agreed.
yeah, and the family were also being threatened by the mafia. So there were a lot of reasons why the family perhaps could not come, faster to his rescue than they should have.
Agreed. That is it. That we need to be always aware and awake
Alert.
and alert to situations evolving around us.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yes. It has
And
been a
for
very
a,
important lesson.
and for a bright person like
Yes.
Sushant Singh Rajput,
Yeah.
I have no words. Why it happened, how it happened, and how people trapped him. Very sad, very unfortunate, very unfortunate.
See, funny thing, Ramesh. See, just a week before, not even a week before, about 4 or 5 days before, Disha was killed,
Correct.
and
He was
she had
telling knowing
attended.
things
Yeah,
about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she had
He was
attended the party at Ekta's house.
Mhm.
Ekta was celebrating her birthday on 7th of June.
Right.
She was there at the party. She saw something there and she called Sushant, and she went with Sushant, and apparently she went with a child. You know, so there was a child there. So then after that, Disha was killed. How she was killed, we don't know. The
Correct.
funny thing is that Disha's murder was, made very light. If you look at the newspaper reports at that time, it was a very small report saying that she committed suicide.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Right. Right.
So, nobody noticed it. But when the details of Sushant Singh's death came, then the link between him and Disha also emerged. And they realized that these two people were very closely linked and they knew everything and they were
Correct.
planning to give a press conference. And
Right.
that is why
Right.
the people behind it were feeling
They're
scared.
they're finished from the scene. They're removed
Yeah.
from the scene. Yes,
Yes.
it was done.
Yes.
Right.
So that is. I'm sure now. See, for example, a lot of some new people have joined the CBI, and they're also from the forensic team. They say so. I'm
Right.
hoping that their hands are strengthened even further to reveal it, because the kind of work that the NCB is doing is very good. They are exposing everywhere, whether it is
Right.
the south or in the north. They are busting all the drug, gangs. They are
Actually,
arresting actresses, actors. So it's all good.
all
But
celebrities. Yes. Yes. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes. In fact,
The
today,
conduits, the
yeah,
celebrities. Yes.
yeah. In fact, today in Sandalwood, Ragini, who was arrested for I think, so many months, has been now given bail. She was also a one who was
Right.
supplying drugs, apparently,
Right. Right.
at
Karnataka. Right.
parties.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Very good.
Karnataka. Yes. So it's very good what NCB is doing. ED is also doing their work very well. Now we are hoping that CBI, since it's more strengthened now, will come out, because the people who are watching it are Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. So I'm sure we will get justice.
Yes, the justice is very excuse me. Justice is very much needed, and I think a fair and prompt justice is what we are expecting now.
See,
That
if
is
it was
the
government, I would not speak so confidently. But with this government in power, I'm sure the truth will come out.
it will emerge. Truth will
Yes,
emerge. Truth must
yes,
emerge. Truth must
yes.
emerge. Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ramesh. Very interesting talk with you,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
thank you from all the viewers. And hope you will join us in another session later. Good
Thank you.
night.
Good
Good
night
night.
to you.